What is going on, y'all? I'm here to talk about changes I made for Delphox, but before I get into explaining my thought process behind the ability choices, the move changes, and all that stuff, I want to have a quick disclaimer for new viewers to check out the description down below. I've got a bullet point list explaining all of the background info about the ROM hack. That'll give you a lot of context. And if you look on screen, you can see the link to the Google Sheet is also in the description. You can check that out when you're done with the video. Don't click off yet because that'll mess up the watch time, but yeah, when you're done, you could check this out, and it's got all these categories, the most important of which is the move guide. Looks like a lot, but it's really not that much if you just scroll through it, and you'll kind of get a hang of everything because it organizes everything into like categories, so it's pretty easy to understand just by scrolling through it in order. So with all that being said, Delphox, I ended up. Oh, last thing by the way, make sure y'all drop a like, drop a comment, sub if you haven't already, all that good stuff. It would help get the ROM hack out to more people. But yeah, Delphox. So I know some people will be like, oh, this thing should be Fire Fairy. I don't disagree with you necessarily, although I think Psychic does make a little bit more sense in my opinion. But I can see the vision for the fairy, the whole magic thing. However, I ended up giving that to Ninetales, and I would rather not have two Fire Fairy Fox Pokemon. I think that's pretty fucking lame. So I think Delphox can stay Fire Psychic. There also aren't many. Is this the only Fire? No, Armaroos. Yeah, I think it's just them and Armaroos in Gen 9 right now, if I remember correctly. I can check my list real quick, but yeah. Regardless, it's a cool type combo as well, and I gave them 3 really cool new abilities. So Magician is no more. I mean, Braixen has it because it's like a decent mid-game ability because it does let you steal items and stuff. But it's just not bad. You can do like Quick Claw Magician or Gem Magician or Endure Pinchberry Magician, stuff like that. Some little gimmicky stuff like that for the mid-game. And yeah, by the way, I was right. It's just those 2 Fire Psychic types. But yeah, Delphox. So I opted to give it Magic Bounce. I didn't give it Magic Guard. I know somebody in here is going to be like, why not Magic Guard? And so Magic Guard is incredibly mid in-game. In competitive, obviously it's great because the entire game revolves around entry hazards. So being immune to those is incredible. And you're also immune to some other relatively prevalent things like Toxic and stuff, which is just not really a factor in-game. So really the only benefit of Magic Guard in-game for the most part is... like the main allure of Magic Guard at least is no Life Orb recoil, which is already not a big deal in game. It's pretty easy to mitigate the Life Orb recoil. It's not like competitive where you're switching around and losing HP all the time to where that 10% really matters. Obviously it can matter, like you should still plan around your Life Orb recoil, but it's very easy to mitigate. So that's one benefit, and then the other benefit is like recoil moves. For example, Delphox would have Overheat, which is now Special Flare Blitz, and then Blast Burn, by the way, now functions like Overheat used to because I made Blast Burn, Hydro Cannon, all the starter moves into 140 power moves that drop your Draco Meteor variants basically. Anyway, what was I saying? No Magic Guard because I don't know, like they would have Lumina Crash and Overheat and maybe Eternal Beam, and that's it. 3 recoil moves. It's not bad. It's not like horrible, but it's just kind of underwhelming when Sixth Sense already has a similar purpose. And gives you even more moves and utility from Hypnosis, and obviously Sixth Sense makes sense given the whole given the whole Magician theme they got going on. Psychic Surge also makes a good amount of sense. I could go to the Pokedex. I don't think I have to, but I can because I know there's some entries like it's like a focused state seeing into the future, so that's why I gave Sixth Sense. And then Psychic Surge is kind of the same vibe. And then Magic Bounce is the whole magic thing. Magic Bounce allows them to do a lot of stuff without any punishment from the AI, because the AI will often lead off with Taunt or T-Wave or a sleep-inducing move. So to be able to bounce that back at the AI is really useful because you can click whatever you want to click. You can click setup moves, you can do Trick Room, with the Room Service, you can do Agility, you can do Calm Mind, you can do Nasty Plot, you can do Hypnosis, you can do all sorts of useful things versus the lead, even just teleporting out, stuff like that, right? So very, very good ability, obviously, versus AI Magic Bounce. I'm not the biggest fan of it in terms of mechanics because I think it does reward setups and stuff, but it is what it is. Psychic Surge is obviously great. It makes you immune to priority. It gives you a huge 30% boost to your Psychic Stab, which is almost like adaptability. It's a 1.95 boost if you do the math. And you do get Expanding Force in the late game and Psycho Boost in the late game, both of which are obviously very powerful with Psychic Surge, and powerful in general, but especially with Psychic Surge. And then Sixth Sense, as you can read, has lots of really cool applications. So Fire Blast, Side Strike, Inferno, Focus Blast, and Thunder are all 120 to 130 power moves. Fire Blast is a TM, which you get earlier than Inferno, so you'll be using Fire Blast. Then you get Side Strike a little bit after you get Fire Blast via level up. Slash Strike is 130, Fire Blast is 120. Inferno is 130 and it also burns, which is really good. I mean, the burn effect is relatively, because I feel like if you're trying to burn something with Delphox, you may as well just click Willow because it's 100% accurate. But, you know, it's definitely not bad if you like, it's still a good thing to have the burn. Focus Blast and Thunder are both 125 and 130 power each. Focus Blast 130, Thunder is 125. So that's all pretty good too for coverage, right? You know, you get a free, strong fighting and electric move. And then you get Hypnosis, which always lasts for 2 turns and won't miss with 6th Sense because 6th Sense is buffed. Well, it's not, Hypnosis is buffed to, I believe, 80. So 80 times 1.3 is over 100. So, yeah. Very good ability. Very, very fun. I like it. It's probably my favorite ability on them because the other ones are kind of boring to me, especially Magic Bounce. I mean, Psychics are just cool, but I don't know. You know, I think 6th Sense is super dope. Obviously, you're still going to be switching between all 3 of them depending on the situation. That's the whole point. That's why I choose these ability slots specifically, is so they all have value over one another because you're supposed to be customizing your Pokemon at all times. Yeah, breaks in. I opted to give the pre-evolutions competitive because I was like kind of struggling to think of a third ability for Fennekin because I don't like Magician on them flavor-wise. They're not a Magician yet, you know. I think it's kind of stupid that they have Magician normally. I mean, I know that in Vanilla the starters just carry the same hidden ability the whole time, even if it makes no sense for the babies to have it. But that's always bothered me. So, yeah. Competitive's great. There's tons of stat dropping moves. In this case, for example, you have Dismal Cry, Disarming Voice, Mystical Fire, Mind Pulse. Even stuff like Low Kick and Grass Knot drop speed, you know, so all sorts of moves have like additional effects now that will drop your stats. So competitive for the mid and early game is very good because the AI will be using those against you, and you can switch in and get a +2 boost. Flash Fire's obviously good. Magician's good, already covered why. Blaze is good, old reliable. It's, you know, you can do Endure. Pataya Berry or Select Blaze. It's very, very powerful versus the AI, like actually probably your best ability outside of competitive. But, you know, all 3 have uses for sure. You can definitely hook a little bit with Magician. It's a cool ability. I opted not to make breaks in Psychic. You could argue they could be. That's why I gave them Psychic moves. I just kind of like them as Pure Fire with the Psychic moves. I think it's cooler. And I also wouldn't like how they're the only dual type compared to the other 2. I think that would bother me. And I definitely don't see Dark on Frogadier or Steel on fucking Quilladin. So another really cool little exclusive option is a Branch Leech. Very early on at level 16. I think that's super cool because they got the whole tree branch thing. Branch Leech is a 60 power physical move that heals you by 100% HP. So it's like Mega Drain, but even better. It's really, really cool. And obviously they don't have the best physical attack stat, but I think you can still get some use out of it early game with healing moves. You also have Wish and Morning Sun. You've got Ignite for Fire type priority. You've got Influx for Psychic type priority. You've got, you know, Disable. Magic Powder is a pretty cool little gimmicky move, makes them pure Psychic, so you can do that versus like Titan Pokemon maybe to like remove their stab and make them weak to something. Bursting Flames hits multiple times. Trick Room I already covered is good. Even if you're not abusing the Trick Room yourself, because obviously you're a fast Pokemon, right? But first of all, you could abuse Room Service, and number 2, you can always just use Magic Round's Trick Room to get it off yourself, and then switch out into one of your other Pokemon and abuse the Trick Room for a bit. So that's always good. Future Set's solid, strong, 150 power. I already covered Hypnosis. Yeah, so I guess I can cover a little bit more about like the sleep turns with Hypnosis. So yeah, it always lasts for 2 turns. So essentially, you are like if you outspeed, you get 1 full turn with Hypnosis, and then you get another full. So for example, you outspeed, you click Hypnosis. That Pokemon's asleep for 1 turn already. Next turn is the final turn of sleep. They're gonna wake up on the 3rd turn. But because you're faster, you can still kill them before they wake up. If you're slower with Hypnosis, you get 2 full turns of sleep, meaning you take the hit, they fall asleep, they have 1 turn of sleep, you can switch out, and then that Pokemon that you switched into still has a free turn of sleep. So if you want to abuse the sleep with somebody else, you should probably do like a slow sleep with Delphox, which you totally can do. You know, you can just run no speed EVs and you can get outsped by tons of faster Pokemon. Even if you have max speed EVs, you still get outsped by a good amount, which is why you're probably going to be wanting to use like Choice Scarf with like Psychic Surge or 6th Sense a lot of the time, just to outspeed things, or Quick Claw or whatever. You could even do some like Trailblaze shenanigans, Agility shenanigans, stuff like that. But yeah, otherwise Blast Burn is what Overheat used to be. Burn Up is slightly weaker. It's like similar to Blast Burn. It always burns though, and it's weaker and it removes your fire typing, which has some cool utility to it. So you can use either of those for like big burst damage. Wildfire is a Wicked Blow variant, which isn't the best on them because you're going to be like using Choice Scarf a lot to be fast, but it's definitely not bad. I don't know why I put it at 48. I think I just didn't have a spot to put it anywhere else. I should probably swap it with Overheat if I'm being honest, but No, no, actually, no. I didn't because I put overheat there because you get fire blast at 6 cents, so I want us to like kind of encourage the other abilities. Yeah, that's why I did that. I know that's pretty much it though. I think I've covered basically everything I need to talk about. There's a bunch of coverage options, obviously, like Energy Ball, Moonblast, Eternal Beam, Aura Sphere, Shadow Ball, Thunderbolt, Thunder, Focus Blast, Scorching Sands, blah 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 blah. So yeah, thanks for listening. If you made it to the end, I do appreciate that. Make sure you drop a comment. I'll be back for more coming up, y'all. Peace.